All right, so it looks like we got a hurricane. I said yesterday that wouldn't hit Los Angeles. Well, it's not a hurricane. This is like, I mean, okay. I think I found a webcam. It's like right around here. Kind of lived in an area like this. I mean, does that look like a disaster? It's a ski resort that obviously isn't a ski resort right now because it's getting ready for fall. They probably open in October. And they start making snow and it gets cold at night. Um, anyway, that's like not really. I mean, come on. This is actually some pretty good rain though. You could have some flooding in the mountains and deserts and stuff if it's like yeah. This is I've seen something like this before. Not quite this powerful though. This is a little bit. I just thought it was funny. I made a video yesterday saying it's not going to happen tomorrow, and I wasn't paying attention to their weather. And I guess yeah, that's the flash flood warning areas. I wasn't paying attention to the weather because I don't live there, but yeah. Anyway, so that's interesting. People making a big deal out of it, but it's not really a big deal. Well, I thought it'd be cool to talk about like the pros and cons of living. Might as well give it a like if I'm gonna stream it, right? This is like a live cam. The pros and cons of, and I believe it's in Wrightwood, but I don't know for sure. Wrightwood, California. I think it is because there's one ski resort there. There's like 5 or 6 ski resorts in Southern California that they're all like. I lived right between two of them. It was actually really cool and not cool. That's what I wanted to talk about. So like, I guess I'll start out with the cons because I like to end on pros. I'm a positive person. I like 80% positive, 20% negative. So the cons are like it's a small town. Which so you have the goods and bads of that. Everybody knows everybody, and it doesn't take long for people like either like you or not like you. So you have to get along with the locals. I did okay in mine. I had some issues, but I did okay for the most part. Then another con is like the weekends and like the holidays are super busy. So like what you want to do is work during those times. Like a lot of people, if they live in a resort town, work in the resort industry. Like you usually have like a summer gig and a winter gig, and then maybe you take a couple months off, which is cool if you can. I mean, you know, I think it'd be cool to be able to have like a kind of gig where you can actually take like 2 or 3 months off of the year and just not even work, and then come back when like you know how to do your job when you come back. You know what it is. Like I think that's pretty cool. I didn't have that kind of job, but people seem to figure out a way to do it that live there. It's kind of neat. They work like you end up working like 2 or 3 jobs, but like, well, I didn't, but like, okay, so there's that, and yeah, so those are the kinds of cons. Yeah, you get like these pricks. At least in this area, you'll get these. Well, I don't know about this resort, but the one I was that was popular with people from Orange County, and they just drove me. I couldn't listen to No Doubt for like years because of that. Like these chicks from Orange County just pissed me off, dude. I mean, these snowboarder little. Never mind. So yeah, and I didn't really ski or snowboard, but I'm into the summer. I'm into the mountain biking, the hiking. I like that, the trees, all that, the animals, all that. I love it. So I just eat it up. So and also okay, so that's like the biggest cons. Can I think of another con? Not really. It's neat. Mostly the pro. Like there's a lot of pros. Biggest pro is you get this advantage where like when it's slow, they're usually still open. The resorts, the restaurants, and everything. But you get the town to yourself. The particular place I lived had about 30 to 40,000. It's actually a pretty big resort town for a resort town. It had 30 to 40,000 local residents, and it had about about like enough housing for 130,000 people. That's what I remember reading. So it's kind of weird. You're driving around and like you're walking around or whatever, and a lot of the houses are just weekend cabins. Nobody might even be in there. You start learning who in the neighborhood actually lives there, and who doesn't. So yeah, it's kind of neat. Like you might have neighbors that just aren't there, but then they'll party all weekend. So that's the problem. Like I lived in a place that was kind of like an apartment, like a duplex, and it was cool at first because I had a neighbor that was like a paramedic. So he was usually gone, and when he was back, he was just sleeping. So as long as I didn't bug him, we were cool. But then like he moved out, and these snowboarder chicks moved in that just partied all the fucking time, and we had stereo wars, and they clipped my fucking TV cable and shit. And yeah, we had a lot of like, I just have It's like daddy pays for everything kind of girls. Just can't. No, but anyway. That was. But then there's tweakers and stuff too. Of course, tweakers are everywhere. And yeah, I had that. One time I had to like go like these guys were like slam dancing in the apartment above me, and I'm like, fuck, these are scary fucking tweakers, but I can't let this happen. I got earplugs in and it's still not enough, so I had to get up in the middle of the night and be like, dude, I'm trying to sleep. And they were nice, even though they're tweaking out. You never know, but they were like, yeah, okay, sorry, and they stopped slam dancing at least. So yeah, there's that. But that was kind of just the more like the particular area I lived. Like I could have bought a house there. I could have got a house. I looked at renting several different houses. I almost bought a house, but I panicked at the last minute because I didn't understand how mortgages work, and I would have made like $100,000 at least on that house if I bought it, like easy. Like I would have moved up here with $100,000 if easy, had I just understood the game. I don't think it's a good time to buy a house now though necessarily, but it was then. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, there's more pros. You've got like all the hiking. You've got all the neat scenery. Like the one I lived in has a lake and 2 ski resorts. You can probably figure it out by now if you know the area. But and it has all these fucking trails. Like I've hiked the Pacific Crest Trail there. So I can say I have hiked the Pacific Crest Trail in 2 states. I can say that, like at Mount Hood and this other place. So yeah, it's got a lot of this just neat stuff to do that's like outdoorsy, and you can do that. And then like you get like the quiet. Like most of the time, the town is very quiet and peaceful, and you get like there's also this like thing where I don't know if other towns are like this, but the one I was in, there's this very like I don't know why, but they resent all the tourists. Like I mean on one level I get it because they're rude and snobby, but on the other level it's like, well, you wouldn't be here without them. Like you wouldn't have your business without them. Like you need them to show up on the weekend and drop $100 bills all over the place, So so I don't know. I just have a thing like I've stopped having this hate anything like if that's my work and it's actually providing. I want to give it some. I mean, I get my complaints sometimes, but I want to give it some kind of level of appreciation. Like without them, I wouldn't be here. So let's see, what else can I say about the ski resorts or towns? That was nice. It was something. Oh yeah, the way the locals are. Like you start to like after a couple years, you start to get to know people in town, and you start to get like privileged treatment because they hate the tourists and they love the locals. So, like if they see you coming to a restaurant on a weekday all the time, they know you're a local, and so you'll start getting like better service. And I noticed that the mechanic, I got this like fantastic price on something. I'm like, how would he? He's like, oh yeah, you're not a flatlander. That's what they called everybody from down the mountain. They called them flatlanders because we live in the mountains, right? That's what we're mountain people, forest people. Snow, I don't know. It doesn't snow. The snow in this area is not that bad. It's actually kind of nice. It like snows then melts and snows then melts and snows then melts, but it doesn't really like you don't have like ice on everything or anything. It's just powdery, fluffy, nice. It's not wet. It's like kind of dry snow. It's good for skiing actually when it's there. But yeah, I mean if you're one of these people that's considering being working from home and living in a resort town, there are like a lot of advantages to it. I mean I kind of wish I was in one now. However, I don't know. Part of me just says just love the town you're in and just make it as best you can. Instead of like. That's funny, this is a hurricane hitting Los Angeles. It's so scary. Oh my god, look at that. Wow, that's not very far from Los Angeles. That's like an hour's drive, so it's nothing. Is it even raining? Did it even rain? It doesn't even look like it rained. And people were like freaked. I don't know. Anybody that sensationalizes this storm, like I'm gonna make fun of for the rest of. I'm gonna make fun of these people. Like I'm gonna look for people that like hyped this thing and tried to connect it to the reason why they want to take your car away, let's say. I just think it's just insane. And by the way, that's another problem. If we actually go to electric cars, these towns are going to get fucked because they just can't get, they're going to need some kind of transit system. There used to be trolleys, believe it or not. There used to be not here necessarily, but there used to be these trolleys that would take you into the mountains before cars. So people could this is the late 1800s, early 1900s. People could go try out, hang out in the mountains. One thing about living down this area you like that you can be at the beach and the mountains in the same day. I mean, that's kind of cool, you know. Other places are like this too, but it's unique. The problem is you got to drive. They like to hype that, but it's like, oh yeah, but 3 hours through traffic, and you don't know what it's going to be like, and the gas and everything. So but it's still neat. I do love this kind of terrain. It's pretty much my favorite kind of terrain. But there is another problem with this kind of area. Like, I don't know, the resort towns may vary, but like this one's in the mountains, and so are many of them. And one problem is driving, because it's dangerous. Like, people get in accidents all the time, going around corners in the ice, and it's like, if I knew people that lived in this one town that were like in their mid-20s and never left that valley, and I'm like, you've never even been down to Los Angeles or to the desert towns? And they're like, no. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. I don't know. I mean, even if I didn't drive, I'd find a way down the mountain, right? Like, I would just, I don't know. There is like a tram that, no, I don't know if there might be a bus service. I don't know. But, anyway, and I don't know. That's just weird to me, like, to be like that old. I mean, it's not old, but it's like, that's a long time to have spent all your time in like this one valley. That's like really pretty valley, but it's like, there's a desert right next to you. There's fucking a huge city right the other side. I don't know. Why wouldn't you want to see it? At least see it, so you can say you hate it. But but like the driving can be an issue because it can be icy. Like, I remember one day I went to get this drum machine. I had to have this drum machine before Christmas. Like, I had to have it. So I called Guitar Center down in the LA area, and I bought it. And I was like, I gotta go get it. So I drove down there, and I was kind of playing chicken with the snowstorm, and it got a little hairy. Like, I had to, I don't remember if I put the chains on or not, or if I just kept going. I think I put the chains on. Like, I had to stop and put chains on, but I don't quite remember. I just remember thinking about that. Like, this is a little while ago, but I got my drum machine, but boy, it was like, you're playing chicken with the snow, and like these snowstorms that come in, and they're pretty dangerous. You kind of want to just be there. And I've seen some really crazy storms there that are neat. So that's the long and short of it. But yeah, it could offer a good lifestyle because you can do fun things. It's like, hey, you live in a resort town, You do get kind of annoyed. Like, I remember one time I went to get I can't end on a con. God damn it. I gotta think of a pro from a con. Right? But I'll do a con. I'll think of another pro. This one time I went to go get a pizza. And it was like New Year's Eve, and this was like the dumbest thing I ever did there. But so I call and order this pizza, and we go to get it, and it took me 2 hours to cross town. And it's like 5 miles. It's not a big town. It's like 5 miles, and get this pizza and go home. And they had the pizza ready. It wasn't their fault. It was just traffic. And I remember another local spotted me. And they're like, what should we do about this? And I'm like, guns. And he's like, yeah. So the local thing, is kind of cool. Once you get in with the locals, they start giving you weed and stuff. It's that's fun. I had 2 people come to my work and try to give me weed while I was at work. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't get me in trouble. I don't smoke weed at work. But yeah, they literally did. They just came right in my office and they're like, you want some weed, bro? I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I wasn't really much of a weed head then, but it was fun anyway. There is a nice effect of getting stoned in the mountains. They say you get higher and drunker. Personally, I don't think the elevation makes a difference. What I have noticed though was when I went camping one time, and me and my friend were getting super lit. We had this whole crew of people. And people were teasing us. Other campers were like, they got the good shit over there. And this is up here. This wasn't down there. This is in Washington. And near Mount St. Helens. And what I noticed was that, there's a buzzkill factor to being inside. I like to be outside. The lights, the computers, the cameras, all that crap kind of has this buzzkill. If you're trying to get loaded, you need more to get where you want to get. And yet, I guess it's windy there a little bit. But yeah, that's not much going on. I'm subscribed. I'll subscribe to this guy. I'll like his channel. I'll promote his channel if I'm going to restream his shit. It's a ski resort. I'm pretty sure, just streaming it to promote their ski resort. But they're not telling you. Well, I guess they're calling it the West Base Cam, right? Yeah, must be. Is that right? It looks like Wrightwood, but I don't know. I mean, that's what it looks like there. Yeah, I've been there a few times, but it's right on the San Andreas Fault too. But yeah, so earthquakes are a big factor in this area. They're a serious threat. They're. I mean, they don't happen often, but they're real. They're fucking real. I mean, you could have a big earthquake right here, but whatever. You gotta live somewhere, and there's always some kind of hazard. And I'm over the fear of earthquakes, sort of, kind of. I used to be very bad about it, but I've been through like several of them. So yeah, here, well, we have this big one we can have where I'm at now, but I don't know. They're always, the thing about earthquakes is like, they're always like, I've been through like several big ones, and it's never the one that they're telling you is going to happen. Like, it's never the one the newspaper's warning you about. However, they're right that the danger is out there, and there's people trying to find out because they're just trying to find out. Like, but mankind, we're not as smart as we think we are. We're trying to figure things out. We just, we dig around, try to find a fault line. Like, they do this shit in this part of the country. This is where, not where I am, but where that video is. They put bombs in fault lines and blow them up just to see what will happen. Somebody got like a grant to do that. Like, really? That's what, yeah. So I guess they did all the estimations and figured, it's just to tell them like what, I don't know, I'm not a seismologist. I'm not Kate Hutton, my favorite seismologist. She used to be so hot back in the 60s. But that's her name, Kate. I think it's Kate Hutton. I think. Not gonna look her up. But yeah, I used to see her videos like talking about earthquakes. I wanted to learn about seismology, but yeah, this can be a very neat lifestyle if you can work from home or get in with the town and learn get the couple jobs, whatever it takes, right? If that's what you want to do. I would be worried though about this electric car crap, because in the long term, I don't think in the short term it's a problem, but if they're really gonna force this shit on people, I don't think it's gonna work. Like, there's just going to be too many blackouts and people are going to be pissed. Like, there's just going to be too many people that remember what it was like to live a normal life. And, will vote accordingly. That's my opinion on it. But that's just being hopeful and optimistic. But yeah, these towns are done. Like, if they really do that, because like, you can't drive. Like, it takes, it's 200 miles just to get here for a lot of people. And then, so then what, you're going to charge it up there? Oh, how's the grid up there going to handle it? Like, you seen the power lines that go up there? Like, I mean, they have enough trouble keeping the lights on up in these areas. There's always, like, windstorms, and, like, I had so many power outages when I lived there, like, which is hard for what I do for a living, because if I can't have a computer on, I can't do shit. So, yeah. But it's fun. You could enjoy, like, I had really cool 4th of Julys. I had really cool, people come up to visit you because you live in a resort town. Like, like where I live, there's no reason to visit me. Like, unless you want to visit me, you know what I mean? But like, there's so, like, if you're in one of these towns, people come up because they're curious about, like, oh, you live next to that lake, or oh, you live next to that ski resort. Oh, I'm going snowboarding. Can I come hang out? So you get more visitors. Your old friends will come up, more often than if you just live in some normal place. That's another pro. So yeah, at least I found a pro to end on. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I had a lot of fun in that town that I lived in, and you might too, if you move to a ski resort or like some kind of resort town. I mean, there's different kinds of resort towns. I'm just talking about the various resort towns. Late.